Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Saturday, the 23rd of April, 2022. And we're publishing our gold and silver weekly update for the week ending the 22nd of April. We're anticipating lower prices prior to May the 5th. Why? Well, let's take a look. Okay, looking at precious metals first. Gold fell $43 last week, falling from $1,975 to $1,932, having hit a high of $1,998, just $2 short of $2,000, and a low of $1,927, a fall for the week of 2.2%. Now in sterling terms, gold finished the week at £1,506, down £6, and in euros it closed at €1,789. That's down a significant €36. Now silver performed worse. It fell $1.51, falling from $25.68 to $24.17, having hit a high of $26.23 and a low of $24.06, a fall of nearly 6%. In sterling terms, it closed at £18.84, that's down 82 pence, or 0.8 of a pound. And in euros, it closed at 22.40 euros, that's down 1.35 euros. Now obviously, it'll become as no surprise, the gold to silver ratio went up, and it rose from 76.9 to 1 to 79.9 to 1, a full 3 points. Bitcoin too is down, some $470, which in the overall scheme of things is not a lot for Bitcoin, and currently stands at $39,624. Now equity markets performed very badly, particularly on Friday. In fact, the Dow closed on Friday at 33,811, down 981 points on the day, and down 640 points on the week. The S&P 500 closed at 4,271, down 121 points on the day, and down 121 points on the week. And the Nasdaq Composite closed at 12,839, down 335 points on the day, and down a full 512 points on the week. So, obviously, the threat of rising rates, which we'll discuss in a moment, is having a very negative effect on equities. Looking at oils, slightly good news, if we can call it that. Brent crude closed at $106.65. That's down $5.05 on the week. Hurrah! Will it go back up next week? We'll wait and see. WTI crude closed at $102.07. And that's down $4.88 on the week. Now, noteworthy, because it'll be particularly important for this coming week, the dollar index stands at 101.22. That's up 0.72 on the week. Do you remember it was not that long ago when the dollar index was at 95? And the so-called experts on YouTube were telling you it's going down, it's going to crash. This is now the ultimate demise of the dollar. Well, news for those, it's at 101 and could even go higher. We concluded last week's video with the following forecast. Quote, we expect to see gold trading between 1940 and 2025, with 1900 to 2060, that's 2060, as outliers. We see silver trading between 2475 and 26, and 2425 and 2675 as outliers. We were a little bit too bullish, really, for gold and silver for last week. Gold initially opened up on the week as we anticipated, but then from midday on Monday really continued to fall, attempting some very weak recoveries, but failing. In fact, it was rather disappointing. We actually produced a video on Thursday, and we've provided a link below highlighting that we anticipated that gold and silver would continue to fall towards the end of the week. which it did. We have to admit that we did expect a fall in gold and silver prices prior to May the 5th, but we did anticipate that it would happen this coming week rather than this past week. So the markets have really foreshadowed what's going to happen earlier than even we anticipated. Why? Well, there was some tough talk by Fed Chair Jerome Powell this week to the IMF about inflation and what the Fed is going to do to tackle it. So much so that some commentators now believe that the Fed may actually raise rates by 0.5% on the 5th of May rather than the 0.25% anticipated. This is why we're seeing such a headwind developing for gold and silver prices. Now, gold trading within our outlier range, but remained some $27 above our potential low and rested some $32 above it at the close. There was, in fact, a difference of some $61 between gold's high and low. Looking at silver, like gold, it began the week positively, but also continued to fall back quite aggressively from Tuesday onwards, so there was a delay of an extra day. For a brief time, it entered our outlier range to the upside, but that was very brief, and then closed just below the bottom of our outlier range to the downside. The difference between its high and low was $2.17, the highest difference it's been for some time, and closed just 11 cents above its week's low. With the dollar index well above 100 and rising above 101, and analysts predicting a 0.5% interest rate rise in less than 2 weeks, we should not therefore be surprised to see precious metal prices dip. What is interesting though, and we should all be mindful of this, equities, precious metals and cryptocurrencies were all down this past week. Now, economic data announced last week was broadly in line with expectations. In fact, to be fair, more slightly positive than negative, save the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Survey, which was down 4 points compared with expectations. Flash manufacturing PMIs were higher, while flash services were lower, though we rather look at the final PMIs before making any form of determination. Now, this next week we have some interesting and important data being announced, particularly so on Friday. So what do we have? Well, on Monday, there's nothing scheduled. Tuesday, we have the durable goods orders for March and new home sales for March. We also have the consumer confidence index for April. That'll be interesting to note. Wednesday, we have pending home sales index for March. And Thursday, the normal weekly jobless claims. They were a little bit disappointing last Thursday, so it'll be interesting to see whether that trend continues this week. But Friday is the day. We have the PCE price index for March and year over year. We have the nominal personal income for March, nominal and real consumer spending for March, and we have the UMich Consumer Sentiment Index for April. So Friday is where analysts' attention will be focused and will probably be a significant determinant as to whether the US will see a 0.5% or a 0.25% interest rate increase. There are some commentators saying that perhaps the markets are anticipating too much. We'll judge that closer to the time. Now, going back to gold and silver, how do they look technically? Well, gold has some reasonable support at $1,900 and super strong support at $1,800, with a number of interventions between. We have strong resistance to the upside, though, at 2,000. And we're not really expecting gold to test that before May the 5th, unless something appallingly significant happens between Russia and the Ukraine and the rest of the world. We suspect that gold will remain under pressure, but while these geopolitical uncertainties continue, will hold up, I'll say moderately well, even though we may get lower prices. Silver we're not too bullish about right now. We have resistance at $25 and much stronger resistance at the 10-day moving average of 25.30. There is some support at 24, but we've already breached the previous support level of 24.25, which was the April 5th low. We would not be surprised if the dollar strengthens further, to see silver dip to as low as $23 this coming week. All attention will be on the dollar, and we envisage next Friday will see the greatest move, unless of course markets move in anticipation of Friday. Both the fast stochastic and MACD suggest lower prices too. Now, whether the Fed will be as aggressive as some are beginning to believe remains to be seen, but until the announcement on May the 5th, the rhetoric will be a very hawkish Fed with intent to combat inflation. This will, in our view, have a depressing view on equities and precious metals. So, with that in mind, we expect to see gold trading now this coming week between the broad consensus of about $1,880 and $1,980, with $1,850 really being the lowest and $2,010 the highest, unless, as we mentioned, something exceptional happens. We see silver trading between $23.50 and $25, and $23 and $25.50 as outliers. What do you think? Do share your thoughts with us. Meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, not forgetting to press the bell sign so you're notified of our videos as and when they're published. We will obviously produce a video about the Fed and our expectations, but that will probably come either later this coming week or early the following week. Meanwhile, we wish you a safe, enjoyable weekend, and as always, a prosperous week ahead. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management, and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.